Hi YouTube. I'm here to refilm my mid-year book Freakout Tag because it was long and I didn't really have a good time filming it, and then I forgot to post it for 3 weeks. So there's some new information. I'm also going to start a new thing where I currently am doing a puzzle, and every time I do a puzzle, I want to talk to you guys and talk about books because I haven't had a lot of good opportunity and good motivation to do YouTube, and I really like doing it and talking about books with my internet friends. So I'm currently starting the World of Jane Austen puzzle, which is super cool. We're gonna get you a little closer to the camera. Nice. There's a bunch of characters from all the books, and I think all of the manners in here. So, while I do this puzzle specifically, especially because it's about books, I'm going to try and talk to the internet about books. Today, of course, being the mid-year book freakout tag, or mid-year book tag freakout, one of those things. It's the middle of the year. We're going to talk about books. Here's a tag. And I will note, I am working on currently collecting the edge pieces because I do that first in my puzzle, and for this video and future videos, there's probably going to be a lot less eye contact with the camera because I'm mostly working on a puzzle, so sorry, not sorry for that one. But without further ado, let's jump into the actual tag questions. I'm going to attempt to do this rapid fire, so I have less editing to do, and I'm also not going to stand up and get any books. I'll try and list the books I mentioned in the description, but no promises. We're here for minimal effort, you two, at the moment, or it's not going to get posted like the last one. So, the first question is the best book I've read so far this year. And I've read 37 of my 76 book goal so far this year. So, according to Goodreads, I'm 2 books behind schedule. I don't think I've had a lot of books that I really, really enjoyed reading this year, with the exception of all of the books that I've read for as part of the Expanse book series. I now just recently finished book 8 of the available 9, and that one was awesome. So I read book 8, 7, I don't know, 6, 5. I've read 4 of the Expanse books this year so far, and they've been exceptional as to be expected. Another book I really enjoyed reading was Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. It was an awesome book, and I was very surprised by Kurt Vonnegut's Sirens of Titan. It was an awesome, space odyssey romp and was absolutely crazy, so that's amazing. I've also done 0 pieces of this puzzle so far. Anyways, what's the next question? Where did it go? The next question is, I kind of already answered it, is the best sequel I've read so far this year. I really enjoyed all of the Expanse books I've read. So there we go, that's probably the best sequel. A new release that I haven't read yet that I want to. I'm typically pretty bad at keeping up with new releases, if I'm being totally honest, because I just have such a big, unread TBR off those 2 small piles, and then all the stuff over here that you can't quite see. So I'm currently trying to work through my backlog TBR before I buy any new books. But I did recently buy The Late Night at the Telegraph Club YA romance novel, I believe, and that book seemed really awesome, so I'm excited to read that one. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that is, see my Brandon Sanderson section over here. It is most obviously The Lost Metal, book 4 of the, what's it called? The second era Mistborn series, so the ones with Waxen Lane and Steris and Maracy. I'm very excited for book 4. That's my most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Biggest disappointment. Like I mentioned, I've not read a lot of books that I've been super excited about this year, but I recently, while on my vacation, read Outlawed. Who's it by? Outlawed by Anna North, and I was honestly very disappointed by that book. I wanted more of the, like, cops and robbers energy, or more of just more of like what you'd expect from a Wild West outlaw experience. And I do appreciate what the book was trying to do, because it was trying to be like, here are a bunch of women who were wrongfully accused of being witches because they, you know, couldn't have kids, and then people in their village also started to have like sterility problems, and so we're gonna now banish them and kick them out. So like that's the premise, and then they become outlaws, but like they don't do much outlaw stuff afterwards. And there's a whole weird like tangent of like one of the people being really sick. It's like a mental illness that's not very fleshed out, and it's very confusing because it doesn't really serve a purpose for the overall plot. So I wanted a lot more out of that book, but I did appreciate what it was trying to do. And if someone else knows about a cool gang of women outlaws in the Wild West era, please let me know, because I would love to read it. The next question is biggest surprise. So I mentioned Kurt Vonnegut's Sirens of Titan. I do think that one is my like biggest surprise, because I've read a few of his books and they're all good, but like honestly they're a little bit much for me sometimes, in terms of like how much you have to be thinking and focused and like ready to learn something when you read his books, that I was a little nervous going into this one. But this one was just like lighthearted and fun, and it was very approachable to a, like, you don't have to have your classics hat on for that one. So the next question is, what is my favorite new author, debut or new to me? That's a good question. I really enjoyed reading Euphoria by Lily King, in addition to Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. Those are both new books to me. I don't know where they are in the author's like publishing amount, but or publishing log or backlog or whatever. But I really enjoy both of those books, so I'm going to say those two authors. The next question is newest favorite character. I read Atlas 6, and I thought that had a great cast of characters. Hated a few of them, but overall I really liked the character of Reyna, I believe was her name, the woman who had the ability to do magic revolving around plants and alive, like, vegetation objects. That was cool, and Nico from that book was also awesome. What is the next question? Book that made me cry. A lot of books have made me cry recently. I think my emotions are just nice and on edge or something like that. But I think I definitely have cried in most of the Expanse books because they're rough and things. So I cried in that book, and so Tiamat's Wrath was the most recent one I read, book number 8. Oh, and I also cried aggressively, sobbing. I had to pull over my car because I was listening to it as an audiobook, to John Grisham's Sully. I get why the author chose to do the ending that way, but I think he did that for shock value and to not have to add like another 100 or so pages to the book, but like I would have read those pages, and I thought it was like I thought it was for shock value, and I was unhappy with the way that they chose to end it for that reason. A book that made me happy. I read Malibu Rising while I was on my vacation, and that was generally just a perfect like vacation read book. And I also read Sappho's Stung with Love poems, and I believe it says excerpts. And that was like a really nice collection of what we have that's limited in Sappho's writing. It was very beautiful poetry, and it was fun and easy and happy to read. most beautiful book I have bought so far this year. Or received. So I will say that I'm gonna get these because they're pretty. But my mom, from my parents' book collection, gave me a really nice edition of the Brothers Kazamarov. It's just beautiful. I'll try to get closer to the camera, but like, look at that. Amazing. And then a little bit more simple, but still beautiful, is Don Quixote by Cervantes. I forget his full name. Miguel de Cervantes. So this is also a beautiful book, and it's green, which is my favorite colors, and it matches my outfit. So yeah, these are two beautiful books that I have received very recently. What is the next question? What books do I need to read by the end of this year? Well, this is the most open-ended question, so we're going to try and do some more work on the puzzle, because I've only done like 6 pieces during this video. This might not be my most efficient way to coordinate YouTube videos, but alas, it's fun, and here we are. And I get to do 2 things I like to do: talk about books, read some books, and also do puzzles. So what books do I need to read before the end of the year? I'm still working on Don Quixote. I haven't given it much focus. In its defense, I don't think it should be taking me this long to read, but I've only read like 20 pages of it. This book edition is also smaller than the other ones I have, so it actually might be easier to carry around with me, and that was part of the issue, because the other ones were like this fat and a little difficult to transport. I would like to finish the Expanse series, which I definitely think I will do. I only have 1 book left called Leviathan Falls. And let me see what else is on my want to read here on Goodreads. I want to read a lot of books this year. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to work through my back stock and stuff like that. But let's see what I have on my to read, just to see if there's anything exceptional on that. Oh yeah, I want to read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. That's a sci-fi book, so I'm going to finish the Expanse books first. And I want to start reading the Murderbot series. So I think the first book, I think it's a series of novellas. I don't actually know, but I've just heard great things about them. And I have a copy, so I would like to read at least the first one. The first one is called All Systems Red, and I think that's about it on like what I would really like to read in the near future. So that's all I've got. I've done like 12 edge pieces of my puzzle. We'll try and get a nice angle down. We see we've done a few pieces. And I hope to do more puzzles and talk to you all about books more often. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you like my content. Comment below what your answers to these questions are. I'll try and post the questions down below. And happy reading, everybody. Happy mid-year Freakout Tag.